So I want you to think about something for a second. What if your university degree, the one you spent years working on, is actually just a $97,000 receipt for suffering?
Ouch. Yeah, that's a pretty harsh way to look at it.
Right. But it really hooks you. And what if this whole traditional advice we get about polishing your resume, climbing the corporate ladder, what if that's all just a rigged game?
A game that's basically designed to keep you, stressed out and financially vulnerable forever.
Exactly. So today, welcome to the deep dive. We are unpacking this fascinating, uh, highly passionate video lecture from a self-made entrepreneur. And he used to be a university professor, too.
Which makes his take on degrees even more interesting,
Oh,
honestly.
so totally. And his whole mission is to demystify personal finance.
Right.
He says money isn't chaos. It's a rigid system, like a beatable four-level video game.
Yeah, and most people, I mean, they're playing this game completely blindfolded because the core premise here isn't just about hoarding a giant pile of cash.
Right.
The actual prize for winning all four levels is buying back your freedom. It's about owning your time, so your survival isn't just tied to the whims of an employer.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to play any game, you need the basic tools first, right? So, level one.
Level one, the skill foundation.
Yeah, but he takes this really cynical, almost mathematical view of it. In this game, your primary weapon is not your degree, it's a skill. But he defines skill in a super specific way.
He really does. He makes this hard distinction between knowledge and an actual sellable skill.
Right, because we confuse those all the time. Like, you can read a dozen Wikipedia articles about macroeconomics or, watch those long YouTube essays on architecture.
Which is great. I mean, it's interesting stuff.
Sure, but in his framework, that knowledge is completely useless in the money game unless it translates into a concrete result, something a client will actually physically open their wallet to pay for.
Yeah, it's entirely about market utility. I mean, if you can cook this amazing Michelin star quality meal for yourself in your kitchen.
Oh, I wish I could do that.
Right. But, that's just a hobby. It's privately useful. But unless someone is handing you actual money to cook that meal for them, it is not a skill in the context of this economic system.
It'd have to solve a pain point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to produce a measurable business result. He uses examples like mastering SEO or becoming a really effective copywriter or even just managing complex digital administration like coordinating massive corporate Zoom sessions.
And he uses his own life to show the math on this, which I
Yeah.
found fascinating. He went to McGill University in the 90s for a commerce degree.
Mhm.
And the raw tuition was, what, about $17,000?
Yeah, around 17 grand. But anyone who's taken basic economics knows that's only part of the cost.
The opportunity cost.
Exactly. He factors in the daytime salary he was forced to just give up to sit in those lecture halls for 4 years.
Which he estimates at around $80,000.
So the true economic drain of what he literally calls his torture.
Wait, he calls his college experience torture.
He literally calls it torture. The total cost of that torture was almost $97,000. And, I mean, he points to a former student of his to prove this. This student has a master's degree in engineering from Concordia University.
Okay, an engineering master's is no joke.
It's a huge accomplishment. But right now, that student is working at a Pizza Hut.
Wow. Just because they don't have practical skills.
Because the degree didn't matter to the immediate demands of the job market, they lacked deployable everyday skills. The market basically shifted from, valuing credentials to valuing pure output.
Okay, but I have to push back on this just a little bit. Is a college diploma really just a worthless receipt? Because what if you want to be a doctor? You can't just read a blog post on anesthesiology and walk into a hospital and ask to put people to sleep.
Right, right. And what's fascinating here is that the source actually carves out those exact exceptions.
Mhm.
He acknowledges that medicine, dentistry, civil engineering, high-level math, they're in entirely different beasts.
Society kind of demands a receipt for those.
Exactly. If a bridge collapses or a surgery goes wrong, the physical and legal risks are massive. So you need that institutional vetting. But his critique is aimed at, the vast majority of modern knowledge work.
Like the digital, creative, administrative jobs.
Yeah, the bulk of the new economy.
Mhm.
In those arenas, relying on a piece of paper is just a losing strategy. And he proved it himself. He dropped out of university in the 90s and just became this serial killer of computer skills.
A serial killer of skills. I love that phrase.
It's intense, right? But he just relentlessly acquired these highly specific technical abilities. And by just passing practical hands-on tests, he landed jobs at IBM and American Express with zero degree.
Okay. which bridges us perfectly into level 2. Because let's say you do that. You acquire a highly marketable skill. Why aren't you rich yet?
Because the market doesn't believe you.
Right. If the market doesn't believe you have the skill, your financial value is still basically zero. Having a skill and actually getting paid for it require completely different mechanics.
You have to bridge that gap.
You have to force them to believe you. And he calls this level 2, the burden of proof.
And this is where the asymmetry in the job market is just massive. Think about it from the hiring manager's perspective. When you sit across from them, they are terrified of making a bad decision.
Oh, totally. A bad hire costs so much time and money.
Right, so the only question pulsing through their head is, can you definitively prove to me that you can do this job? And the speaker is completely dismissive of how we normally try to prove it. He calls resumes and cover letters works of fiction.
Works of fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so accurate, though. We all curate this flawless paper narrative. But to really explain the psychology of the employer, the source brings up this brilliant legal analogy.
Oh, the Ministry of Justice story.
Yes. He talks about his attorney friends and the 3 lines of defense in a crime. Like, if you're accused of something, your first defense is just, I didn't know about it.
Plausible deniability.
Exactly. And if they break through that, you fall back to the second line, I didn't do it. But if they still don't buy that, you retreat to the ultimate ironclad 3rd line of defense, which is, you can't prove I did it.
And he flicks that entirely upside down for the job market. When you walk into an interview claiming to be, a brilliant graphic designer, the interviewer's default silent stance is, you can't prove it.
Right. The resume is just a claim. Your charming personality is just a claim.
Exactly. If you can't provide undeniable concrete proof right there, you lose the case. They will default to protecting their resources. It's like...
Here's where it gets really interesting, actually. It's like treating a resume as just a movie trailer.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right. You put together all the shiny graphics, the dramatic voiceover, the best half-second clips to make yourself look incredible. But the employer has been burned by bad movies before.
We all have. You pay for the ticket and the movie is terrible.
Exactly. So the employer's sitting there refusing to pay until they see an actual unedited 5-minute scene from the film. The marketing is just too risky to trust.
And this is exactly what happened in that incredible story he tells about Sharon Galeen.
The McGill professor.
Yeah, she was this famous turnaround CEO, someone you bring in to fix a failing company. And she was interviewing guys for this crucial marketing position. One applicant walks in and completely bypasses the whole trailer theater.
He didn't even try to sell his resume.
Nope. He told her, look, you have no reason to trust my claims, so I will work for you for 1 entire week, completely free of charge. I'll do actual marketing tasks, and at the end of the week, if the results aren't there, I walk away. You lose nothing.
Wow, so he eliminated all of her risk.
He reduced her risk to absolute zero. And by doing that, he projected so much confidence in his own utility. It was such undeniable proof of his skill that she hired him on the spot.
Wait, really? Before she even worked the free week?
He never had to work the free week. Just his sheer willingness to demonstrate the skill completely dismantled her "you can't prove it" defense.
That is wild. Okay, so you have the skill, you proved it, you got the job, and the money is rolling in. Game over, right? You win.
You'd think so, but no, not even close.
Because earning money and keeping money are entirely different psychological muscles. Which brings us to level 3, stopping the bleed.
And he frames this with some pretty sobering statistics. I mean, we are in the richest country in the world, and yet roughly 50% of Americans don't even have $400 in the bank for an emergency.
Half the country, that's terrifying.
It is. Earning power isn't the primary issue for a lot of people, it's retention. Making it doesn't mean you can keep it.
And the source points the finger directly at consumer credit. He calls the credit card an evil invention. Which sounds dramatic, but economically, credit cards are specifically designed to decouple the pain of payment from the pleasure of consumption.
Behavioral economists have studied this for years. If we connect this to the bigger picture, when you hand over physical cash, say a $20 bill, your brain's pain centers genuinely light up.
You actually feel the loss.
You feel it, but when you just tap your phone or swipe a card, the transaction is totally frictionless. The pain is pushed out 30 days. So you end up consuming future labor that you haven't even performed yet.
So he leans into that Kevin O'Leary and Warren Buffett rule, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have the cash in your hand, you do not buy it.
No installment plans. Avoid the buy now, pay later buttons entirely.
But the advice gets so much deeper than just don't use credit. He wants you to change how you visualize money. He urges you to view money as your actual blood.
Yeah, that blood analogy is intense. It's about recoupling the pain to the purchase.
Right. So every time you spend $10 on a coffee or $30 on some impulse Amazon buy, you aren't just deducting numbers on an app. You are literally bleeding.
They're bleeding out your life force. And every frivolous swipe is a wound making you weaker, making it harder to survive and thrive in this game.
It really makes you think, how often do we willingly bleed out for something we don't even really need?
All the time. And what's crazy about level 3 is that mechanically, it's the easiest level in the world. You literally just have to sit there and not tap the buy button. Just leave the credit card at home.
Zero effort required.
Mechanically zero. But emotionally and psychologically, it is the hardest level because we live in an economy that spends billions engineering triggers to make us spend.
Which is exactly why mastering this psychological self-control is mandatory. Because if you are constantly bleeding out resources on stuff that just depreciates, you have nothing left to build the machine for level 4.
And you just stay trapped, trading your time just to patch the wounds from your own consumption.
So let's look at that machine. Let's say you stop the bleeding. You stockpile your resources. How do you actually win the game?
This is level 4. He calls it X-ray vision and capitalism.
And the foundational rule here is kind of counterintuitive if you just came from level 3. Because hoarding cash is actually a terrible idea.
Right, because cash depreciates. He brings up Ray Dalio's famous line that cash is trash, mostly because of inflation.
If you stuff 10 grand under your mattress, the number stays the same, but the purchasing power is just evaporating while you sleep.
Exactly. So you have to convert that static money into active capital. And the source highly recommends this book, The Mystery of Capital by Hernando de Soto. It draws a really hard line between living in laborism versus capitalism.
Because we think we live in capitalism, but most of us are just doing laborism.
Right. As long as you are trading your physical or mental labor for an hourly rate, you are fundamentally capped.
Because there's only 24 hours in a day. You have to sleep eventually.
You cannot scale yourself.
Right,
Capitalism is acquiring assets that generate returns without your time.
And I love how he demystifies this. Investing doesn't just mean sitting at a Wall Street trading desk.
No, it can be so simple. He uses this example of going on Alibaba or Temu, right? You buy a specific pen in bulk for $6 a piece. Then you set up an automated online store and you sell that same pen for $20. The pen is your capital. When someone buys it at 3 a.m. while you are fast asleep, your money is working for you, not your labor.
It's just a pure obsession with return on investment. Your dollar's only job is to go out, recruit a few more dollars, and bring them back home.
But to deploy those dollars effectively, especially if you want to scale up to buying stocks or businesses, you need what he calls X-ray vision.
So what does this all mean? How do you get X-ray vision?
He says learning to read financial statements is non-negotiable. He specifically recommends The Art of Interpreting Financial Statements by Mary Buffett.
It makes investing sound so accessible, like you just have to learn to read a new language.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
A new dialect. To most people, a corporate balance sheet is just a blur of accounting jargon. But once you know the syntax, it's literally an X-ray. A doctor doesn't just look at your arm and guess if it's broken, right?
No, they read the scan.
They read the bone scan to see the internal structure. It's the same with an income statement. You look at the top-line revenue, you scan down to the administrative costs, the cost of goods sold. You can instantly diagnose if that company is healthy or secretly dying.
He drops a great Charlie Munger quote here, too.
Yes. It's amazing how little you have to do when you know what you're doing. Financial literacy really is the cheat code to level 4. It stops being gambling. You aren't just chasing meme stocks based on emotion.
Okay, so the whole architecture is incredibly logical. Level 1, get a skill. Level 2, prove the skill to get income. Level 3, stop bleeding out that income. Level 4, convert it to capital with X-ray vision.
Sounds easy when you list it out like that.
Right. So if it's this simple, why isn't everyone financially free?
Because every video game has a final boss. And in this game, the final boss is the internet. Or more specifically, distraction.
The source is pretty blunt about this. Distraction equals the destruction of wealth.
Think about the algorithms on TikTok or YouTube. They are built by the brightest behavioral scientists in the world, and their only mandate is to hijack your attention.
If your attention is completely fractured, you can't do the deep work to get a level 1 skill. You definitely can't read a level 4 balance sheet. You're just paralyzed in passive consumption.
And he is ruthless about what most people post online. He says posting cute but useless content, like a picture of your brunch or a video of your cat, it generates zero market value.
It's just noise.
Total noise.
Yeah.
Instead, he says you should be like his former students, Angelina and Susan.
Right. Angelina posts about crypto and macroeconomics.
Yeah, she breaks down stuff like the Sharp A ratio,
Yeah.
which, for our listeners, is basically just a math formula that measures how much extra return you get for the risk you're taking on an investment.
So she's providing actual value. And Susan posts meticulously researched health content.
They use the internet to create capital. They're establishing authority. And this raises an important question for all of us. Are we using our digital tools to level up, or are they leveling us down?
He actually gives a golden rule for this, a strict 1-to-1 ratio. If you want to sit on the couch and consume an hour of algorithm content, you have to earn it by creating an hour of useful output first.
Which is a brutal audit if you look at the average person's week. Most people are operating on 0 minutes of creation and 15 hours of mindless consumption.
You can't win the money game if you're feeding your most precious resource, your attention, into a machine that just harvests it for someone else's profit.
Exactly. You'll just stay stuck at level 2 forever.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, it's really important to realize this isn't just a celebration of greed. The money game isn't about buying a Lambo. It's about freedom.
Complete autonomy. Removing that existential dread of relying on a boss to survive.
And the speaker shared this incredibly vulnerable story to drive it home. In 2010, after a business failure, he was standing on a sidewalk with exactly $683 to his name.
Total financial hemorrhage.
Yeah. He was hungry, staring at a Burger King menu, and he literally had to buy a $5 kid's meal because it was all he could justify without totally draining his last resources.
But he didn't panic and send out a bunch of fiction-filled resumes. He followed the rules of the game. He focused on skills, proved his utility, stopped his consumption bleed, and deployed his capital.
And 16 years later, he is entirely financially free. He owns his Monday mornings.
He beat the game.
He beat the game. So we want to leave you with a final thought to mull over as you go about your day. The speaker claims that every hour you have to work is an hour you're not enjoying life.
That's a heavy thought.
It is. So, if money truly is your blood, like he suggests, what is your personal exchange rate? Take a look at your last 3 non-essential purchases.
The frictionless ones.
Right, the stuff you bought on impulse. Calculate exactly how many hours of your finite labor you had to trade, after taxes, to earn that amount. How many hours of your actual life force did you just bleed out to pay for those things? And was that trade really worth your freedom? Keep leveling up, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.